Hello there. I bet you can't guess where I am. Well, I'm in a town. Oh, you can see that by how busy it is. Well, just look at all this traffic. And there's lots of people everywhere. I suppose this is pretty much like any town anywhere. Except that it's rather special to me because it's in a country called Ireland. And that's where I come from. Ireland. Oh, not from this town, but from a little village. Do you know the difference between a town and a village? Well, I'll tell you. Villages are much smaller than towns. Not so many houses, not so many shops, and not so many people. Come on, I'll show you. And here we are. Oh, it's a bit different from the busy town, isn't it? You see, there's hardly any traffic and just a few shops. But the shops sell nearly everything you need. And this one even sells petrol. And inside, they've got all the food and things you'd expect to find in a grocer's shop. And lots of extra things. So the people who live in the village don't have to travel all the way into the town to get the things they want. Hello there, Mrs. O'Brien. How you doing?
Fine, thank you. Nice to see you back, Judy.
Oh, look! This is where I used to live when I was a little girl. Oh, I don't know who lives there now. Oh, but I hope they're as happy as I was. Oh, I didn't tell you one of the best things about my village, did I? Well, it's right by the sea. Isn't it wonderful? Oh, this is where I used to come with my family and friends. We'd play games and have picnics and splash about on the water's edge, or just sit and enjoy the sunshine. Of course, it wasn't always sunny. Sometimes it can be wild and wet and windy here. Oh, but I still love it. I feel at home here in Ireland. There's a special feeling about the place. I'm not sure what you'd call it. Perhaps it's just the Irishness. There is something you can only get in Ireland. No other place has got it, I have found. There's a feeling everywhere, on the ground and in the air. It's the Irishness, it's everywhere around. Some say the secret's in the mighty mountains. Or could it be the twinkling of a stream? I can't say and I don't care, I just know that when I'm there, the Irishness makes life seem like a dream. Home again, I'm home again. I've been away too long. Home again, I'm home again. Back home where I belong. It's so good to see so many friendly faces, and to hear their laughter, such a happy sound. And everywhere I go, I see places that I know, and the Irishness is everywhere around. The greens are always greener here in Ireland, and the sky seems so much bluer here to me. As I travel far and wide through the town or countryside, the Irishness is all around to see. Home again, I'm home again. I've been away too long.
Live in a village near the sea? So do I.
Me too.
Oh, but why? Because you could go playing on the beach whenever you like. Yes, you could go looking for shells on the beach.
Yeah, or you could take a bucket and spade and make sandcastles.
Oh, yeah, and you could go paddling in the sea whenever you like.
Yeah.
It would be just like being on holiday all the time. Oh, yeah. Wouldn't it be great to be on holiday all the time?
Oh, but if you were on holiday all the time, where would you go for your holidays?
Oh, yeah.
Ah, now here's a place where I used to spend a lot of time. It's my old school. Oh, I had a great time here with my friends. It looks as if it's playtime at the moment. Everybody seems to be having fun. Well, maybe I could have a look at my old classroom. Well, the pictures on the wall are different, but everything else looks pretty much the same. Here's where our teacher used to sit. Oh, and this is where I used to sit and do my schoolwork. Oh, we did all sorts of things. We learned how to read and write, and we drew pictures, and our teacher told us stories, and we made new friends. Oh, it was great fun, and it's really good to be back here. I must say, they've made the classroom nice and bright, and just look at all those books they've got. This one looks pretty good. I think I'll have a wee read. Funny Fred. Fred was worried. Tomorrow would be his first day at school. School starts tomorrow, he said to his sister. What shall I take? Oh, you know, said his sister. The usual stuff. Like what? Said Fred. Whatever you think you need, said his sister. Right, said Fred. School starts tomorrow, Fred said to his brother. What will I need? A spade, said his brother, without looking up from his book. Oh, right, said Fred. School starts tomorrow, Fred said to his grandpa. What do I need to take? Take something soft to sit on, said Grandpa. Those seats are hard. Right, said Fred. School starts tomorrow, Fred said to his grandma. What shall I take? Take a hot water bottle, said Grandma. Those classrooms are freezing. Oh, right, said Fred. And he went to the shop. What do I need to take to school? Fred asked Mr. Big Nose. Take plenty of cookies, said Mr. Big Nose. They never give you enough to eat. Right, said Fred. Aunt Lulu, said Fred. What do I need to take to school? Take a pet, said Aunt Lulu. You'll need someone to talk to. Right, said Fred. Fred, said his mum when she came to say goodnight. What on earth is all this stuff? Things I need for school, said Fred. Oh, you are funny, Fred, said his mum. What you need is a pencil, a rubber, and a brand new box of crayons. And a school bag to take them in, said his dad, which I've got right here. Is that all? Said Fred. That's all, said his dad. Phew, well, that's all right, said Fred. Oh, and there's Fred painting a picture on his first day at school. And so he didn't have to take all that stuff after all. Oh, that was a lovely story, wasn't it? Well, I'll just put it back where it came from. Now. Do you know what this is? Oh, it looks a bit like a bowl, doesn't it? But it's not. It's actually a boat called a curragh, and it's made out of wood and a material called canvas, so it's very light and easy to carry around. And I think I know where we can see a real curragh being made. Oh, that's the bell. It means that playtime's over, so I'll just head off before the children come back in. Now this is the place where my friend makes the curraghs. Shall we go and see how he does it? Hello there, Johnny. How you doing?
Not too bad, Judy. Yourself, you're welcome back again.
Oh, it's good to be back. Do you mind if I watch for a bit?
No problem. I'll soon be ready now anyway, so we'll have on the water.
And here we have the finished curragh. And because they're so light, the men can carry them on their backs and walk them down to the water. When I was a little girl, and I saw the men walking with the curraghs, I thought they looked like great big beetles glumping down to the sea. Oh, I used to love watching the boats going down to the water, but I never got too close, in case I fell in. And you've got to be very careful with water. Isn't that great? A homemade boat you can carry to the water and row around in. Or if you wanted to, you could go fishing. Don't you wish you could build a boat like that?
could build a boat, I'd build one big and wide, with lots of room for all my toys and all my friends inside. When we were out at sea, we'd sing and have such fun. With games to play, we'd spend all day just floating in the sun. On a homemade boat, yes, a homemade boat. Get some glue and paper, make a homemade boat. Lots of wood and string, not the very thing. Put them all together for a homemade boat.
If I could build a boat, I'd build one you could row. I'd take it to the riverside and paddle with the flow. So gently down the stream and round the river bends, the birds and frogs and little fish would all be my new friends.
On a homemade boat, yes, a homemade boat. Get some glue and paper, make a homemade boat. Lots of wood and string are the very thing. Put them all together for a homemade boat.
If I could build a boat, I'd build a submarine and dive down underwater to see things I've never seen. I've heard there's giant fish that live under the sea, or I might find a treasure chest, and that sounds good to me.
On a homemade boat, yes, a homemade boat. Get some glue and paper, make a homemade boat. Lots of wood and string are the very thing. Put them all together for a homemade boat.
But somehow I don't think they're gonna float.
One of the things that Ireland is famous for is its beautiful countryside. In fact, it's known as the Emerald Isle. Now, an emerald is a beautiful green stone, and the grass here is always green, just like an emerald. That's because it gets plenty of water. You see, it often rains here, but even when it rains, it's beautiful. This little train is at a place called Bord na Móna, and it's a peat bog. Now, peat is wonderful stuff. You dig it up out of the ground with a special shovel like this, and it cuts the peat into things they call turfs. Now, a turf looks a bit like a brick, but you don't use it for building. They are very useful, though. I wonder if you can guess what you use turf for.
You could rest your book on one.
You could put wheels on one and pretend it was a car.
You could paint a smile on one to make it look pretty.
Well, if you had two, you could tie them to your shoes to make you look taller.
Well, I'm sure there's all sorts of things you could do with turf, but the best thing is to burn it. You see, turf is a bit like wood or coal. It makes a lovely fire. Come on, I'll show you. The great thing about peat is it burns well and throws out lots of heat. But you mustn't get too close to it or you might get burnt. It's always best to keep well back from fires. Oh, but doesn't it look great? Oh, it smells wonderful too. And on a winter's night, there's nothing better than sitting beside a good peat fire and telling stories. And when I was a little girl, I used to love stories about leprechauns. And in Ireland, there are plenty of stories about leprechauns. Leprechauns are a bit like fairies, only they're Irish. They're sometimes called the little people. Now, some people don't believe in them, and others do. They're supposed to have magical powers and do all sorts of clever things. And they say each leprechaun knows where a big pot of gold is buried at the end of a rainbow. And if you could catch hold of one, he'd have to take you to it. But one thing is sure, without a leprechaun, you'll never find the end of a rainbow. Well, try as I might, I've never managed to find a leprechaun. But some say if you look into the fire long enough, you might just see the leprechauns dancing. I didn't see any leprechauns in the fire. Did you? But this is just the sort of place where I imagine the leprechauns would live. Lots of little nooks and crannies for them to hide away in. So let's have a wee look and see if we can find any. Hello, leprechauns. Are you in there? That's what we want to know. Hello, leprechauns. If you're in there, come out and say hello. Oh, well, as usual, there's no sign of them. Hang on a minute. What's that? It's a rainbow. How wonderful. I've come home to Ireland, had a fantastic time, seen all the old places, and now I've seen a rainbow. And over here, they say if you ever see a rainbow, a leprechaun can't be very far behind. So I think I'll just keep on looking. Bye for now.